Hello friends, welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I'm back on camera again. I hope it looks okay. I think I might have the light a little bit bright. Let's try turning it down one more, see if that works. I got the ceiling light fixed. I got the curtains hung. The sound in here is a lot less echoey now. I've got a few foam boards in front of me as well as a few foam boards over to the side of me on the wall as well. I have some more that I have to hang up maybe on the ceiling above me and possibly that wall over there, or actually that door, because I keep that door open all the time. But I got more that I can do yet. I gotta clean up the mess that's in here now, and I still gotta paint these closet doors white this summer. But other than that, it's finally really coming together in here, and I'm really, really loving it. So I hope you like my background too. I'm hoping that that little square picture right there doesn't fall down again. It already fell down once. But, fingers crossed it'll stay up there this time. All of those pictures back there are just up on the wall with command strips. So cross your fingers for me. The two square pictures at the top I just picked up at Walmart. They were really cheap, like $5 for the pair of them. But the two at the bottom are photos that I actually took myself. The one over this shoulder is a plant. It's got a whole story behind it. I can tell you about it sometime if you'd like. But this, you can't see it very well on here, but that's actually an image of my daughter blowing bubbles out this bubble blower thing here. And let's see if I can line my finger up properly. That bubble right there is actually in the midst of popping. Remind me someday and I'll show you the picture up close, because it is absolutely phenomenal that I just happened to accidentally catch a bubble in the throes of popping. And it's actually a really cool picture. I have it like huge, like massive, life size, even bigger than life size in my living room because I love that picture so much. Anyways, let's get into the speed build, shall we? Enough about my background and stuff. I built another base game starter family home. I'm obsessed. I can't stop. You cannot make me stop because I cannot stop. No, I'm just kidding. If you're getting sick of them, let me know down in the comments. I can change things up a little bit. Again, I've got some room ideas for shorts as well coming up. With a little bit different styles. I do plan on later this week doing a family apartment in San Myshuno, so there is that coming up as well. But if you're getting sick of these samey old builds, just let me know in the comments. I can change it up. I've been I know what my style is and I know how to do it really well now, and I could just keep with that style over and over again, but I've been trying to kind of uh, stretch my skills, I guess. Is that what I want to say? Stretch my skills? Yeah, I guess kind of stretch my skills a little bit by trying to slowly and as painlessly as possible, incorporate other styles. We've seen that I do not do sophisticated, dark, or dramatic very well at all. Not even a little bit. So that I won't be trying again anytime soon. I did start out with this build trying to do that in the bathroom, because the bathroom is the first one that I decorate for some reason. I don't know why. It's just where I started at. But I tried to do that with this one, and immediately I'm like, nope, I can't pull this off. I cannot do dark and dramatic and sophisticated. I have to go back to my style because it's just gonna look awful in the end, and that is not what I want. So I did eventually go back to my style, or not really eventually, almost immediately. The other thing about this house is I know it's very Crick Cabana-esque, very 2014 Willow Creek looking from the outside. If it wasn't such a tight budget starter home, there would have been other ways I could have dressed up, like the porch and stuff. It also doesn't help that it's base game only, but I like building base game homes because they really put your skills to the test, honestly. But the other reason I like building them is because I understand that not everybody can afford to put the kind of money into this hobby that I've put into it. I'm a little bit of a completionist as well. Like, I don't have everything. I refuse to buy Journey to Batuu. I will not buy it. I have no interest in Star Wars stuff at all. I do not think that that was aimed at the general Sims community at all. I think that was a marketing cash grab ploy. To be honest with you, I don't think that they will ever try to do something quite like that again. Not that they haven't done things like that. I mean, Katy Perry, anyone? So it's not like they haven't ever done that before. It's just Journey to Batuu was very different and it very much took you out of The Sims. And they've never quite mixed those kind of things together, like two completely different franchises together like that before. So I refuse to buy it. I want nothing to do with Star Wars. I'm sorry. I don't. And I'm not going to spend the money on something that I might use one or two items out of. And I may well regret that someday. But other than Journey to Batuu, I'm basically a completionist. I must complete the entire set if I can. It's how I was with all three, four, as if we're at five already. No. All the three previous iterations of The Sims. The one thing I never did, like completionist wise, was buy all the spin off games. We do have The Sims Medieval, and if you want to see me play that, I'm totally up for playing that through once. I'd love to at least say I played one of them. The only other game I played was The Sims Herbs. I think it was Herbs. Um, on some kind of handheld. Maybe a Game Boy or something. I don't know. That was so long ago. I feel like it was my first handheld, and I feel like it had to have been the Herbs. I only vaguely remember it, but I do remember getting quite far into the game before my Game Boy or whatever it was died, or I got bored with it or something. It couldn't have been a Game Boy because I was also using it to watch movies. At the time it was all the rage to have a handheld game player that also played movies. What was that? Was it like some kind of PlayStation thing? I don't remember. That feels like it was 100 years ago. That feels like it was so long ago that I don't even remember it. But, anyways, the only other one I've ever really played was Herbs, I believe. And at the time, I really loved that game. I know my niece and nephew had My Sims for the Wii. I think I may have looked at it once or twice, but it was definitely geared towards young children. And so it wasn't up my alley at all to play it, not even a little bit. I didn't even have any interest at the time in checking it out. But the ones I do regret not at least checking out were like Castaway Stories, Pet Stories. I believe those were from the Sims 2 era, possibly. And I never played them. At the time, they just didn't interest me. And I was so obsessed with The Sims 2 that I didn't want to play anything else. Like, literally during that time period, I played nothing but The Sims 2 all the time, every day. That was it, just The Sims 2. I think later in The Sims 2 life, I played RuneScape a little bit just to get a break from The Sims, but there for a while, I was obsessed with The Sims 2 and never wanted to play anything else. And now I kind of regret it. I kind of wish I would have played them. But we do have Medieval, so I might play that on here once or twice. Anyways, as you can see, because I just grabbed a single sim from my library, even though the original plan was to make this a family home, when I grabbed that single sim and put him in here, I'm like, what would this guy like? What should I put in his house that he would like to have and use? And I completely forgot all about the fact that this was supposed to be a family starter home, not a single sim starter home. So, very clearly, I ended up decorating it for this one single sim, who is a nerd, by the way. He's a genius, he's nerdy, he loves video games, he loves all this stuff. So I had to have a computer in here. And then I realized this is not single sim period. This is family sim period. We gotta go back and put a family in this house. So I ended up deleting some stuff. I don't know. I think it comes up right quick here where I end up deleting some stuff, including the computer and office furniture. And instead, I turn that room into a nursery. Okay, had to cut the video there for a second because I knocked down my camera. The problem with this setup is the background looks real cool, or it will when I get the mess behind me cleaned up and get rid of that mirrored stand, but the desk, it's a teeny tiny little writing desk, and it does not have the space for everything, and my microphone is faced away from me. Sorry. It does not have the space for everything that I have sitting on it. So I end up knocking the camera down all the time because it's sort of precariously perched on a ring light, and it's just sort of sitting on the ring light. It's not clipped, it's not screwed in or anything like that. It's just sitting on the bottom rounded part of the ring light, so I'm constantly knocking it down. But anyways, totally forgot what I was saying before. But basically, this started out a family home, and then I confused myself by putting a single sim in here. And I'm like, oh, what would this guy like? I should build him a house. And I started decorating it for him. And then I went, no, that's not what this was supposed to be. This was supposed to be a starter family home. So then I turned around and changed it back right here into a family home. This is where I add the nursery for the family home. The idea is that it's like, I guess it could be a single parent. It could be a single parent or it could be a two-parent household. Either way, it works. And then one child, because the room is a nursery with one bassinet. I don't know if people are going to want to start immediately out with infants or if they're going to want to do the whole pregnancy and then newborn and then infant thing. But right now I don't have access to cribs anyways, so it doesn't matter. So I either always put a toddler bed or a bassinet in there regardless. But it's really easy to switch those out for cribs if you want to have infant in there instead. And like all my other decisiveness, I start out with one style in mind and then halfway through change my mind and I'm like, oh no, I don't like this after all. I'm gonna do it this way instead. I don't plan these things out before I do them. I wing it always. I'm always winging it with my builds. Well, that's not entirely true. There have been a few that I have sort of planned out ahead of time a little bit, but most of the time I don't have the time to plan out the build and then build it on top of it. I just have to, I guess, plan it as I'm building it in a way. Um, Otherwise, I'll get behind on homeschooling stuff for my daughter because that takes a lot of planning. And you know what? Honestly, I'm just burnt out on planning things. So I just like to wing it. The other thing is I don't know, I'm weird. And if I plan it out ahead of time, I get bored with it before I even have a chance to actually build it. So I just have to jump in and build it and go from there. So, yeah, you can see all my indecisiveness. I decided in this one to leave as much of my indecisiveness as I possibly could just to show you the struggle that I go through. Like the number of times I changed the siding outside, that wasn't even the total number of times. I did cut some of those out. And the amount of times I changed this nursery, I left most of that in. Usually I cut at least some of it out. So, you see where I started and then where I kind of ended up a little bit. But this time I left pretty much all of it in, which, it's the way I build. I don't know what to say. Um, but yeah, so in the end, I do think, even though it's very Crick Cabana Willow Creek esque 2014 build style on the outside, it does actually turn out nice in the end, and it leaves you plenty of space to expand, add a second kid even if you want, or put like career objects, whatever you need, and it leaves you plenty of money to do that as well because it's the tightest sim budget possible. So I think I accomplished my goals with this one. Now that I've said all that, I will say this is not my most favorite build that I've done recently. In fact, I probably like this one third least of all the builds that I've been doing recently. It is very Crick Cabana esque. It very much reminds me of what I would always do in Crick Cabana. The one thing that I like that I've been doing again lately and wish I would have continued to do all the way through was put that little terrain paint around the bottom edge of the building, excuse me. I think I mentioned this in my dream house build possibly, but a long time ago, I used to do that on all of my buildings. It made it look like it was attached to the ground and not just floating on a sea of green. And then other people in the community kept saying things like, that's dumb, it's useless, it's unnecessary. Most people don't have the time or whatever. And so I stopped doing it for a while, like peer pressure. Stopped doing it, I guess. But now I'm glad I'm doing it again because it really does give it a finished look. And now that I'm done rambling and knocking over my camera and showing you my indecisive decorating ways, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you later this week. Let me know what you think and what you'd like to see. Bye.